Hey guys, Thogden here. Welcome back to a brand new video. We've just gone through every Prem club and picked their most improved player of the season. It's only right we do the same, but declined.
Ooh, you know what, Theo? I hate doing this negative stuff, but everyone wants it, so here it is.
You may not enjoy doing it, but the content is top quality. We're going to have to pick a player that's got worse this season in the Premier League.
I found it really hard, but you know what? I'd like 10,000 likes.
If we can get 10,000 likes again, I'm sure we'll get that eventually.
Yeah.
It would be incredible. Please subscribe for more English football Premier League content. Let's start with Arsenal.
Let us do that. This is very simple. He played 3 games. He had a stinker. He got dropped. Burnt chip. Leno, Theo. You've got to agree with me. He's been relegated to EFL Cup duties.
You mentioned a YouTuber, and then you mentioned a footballer.
Yeah,
I agree though. Leno,
Yeah.
he got dropped. Ramsdale's come in. He's looking like England's #1 now. Leno did come in though and make a really good save. It's not, maybe he's not got bad. It's just Ramsdale has got better. He hasn't declined that much. What do you reckon?
Sometimes in football, Theo, you've got to take your chances. Ramsdale got a chance. He took it.
I've gone with a player who last season at the end was actually performing and starting to get a little bit of consistency in his game, which he hasn't had for a while. This season, he's been poor and pretty much added nothing to the attack of Arsenal. You know how I'm on about Nicolas Pepe. I'm surprised you haven't agreed with me on that.
A lot of Arsenal fans agree with you, Theo, but I think Leno, it's very bleak.
But why not you? Pepe is one of the most obvious ones on this video. He's been really poor this season. He has a clear decline in his game.
Theo, I think what's happening there, you've got a German shirt on here, yeah? And you're showing anti-Germany bias.
What do you mean anti-Germany?
Hashtag fairness to Germany.
Oh, Leno, I see what you mean. In fact, no, I'm being nice to Leno. I've not put him in this video.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's a decline video,
I think I'll go and have a lie down.
Yeah, I think it's too early for him. We're filming at like 9 a.m. It's way too early for Thogdad.
Aston Villa now. There's been a few poor performances, but I've gone with Matty, the target man. Target. You know what, Theo? I think he's missing Jack Grealish up that left side. He's played 10 games, 1 clean sheet. He's losing more duels than he actually wins. Matty Target, sorry, mate.
There was a moment where there were no fans in the stadium behind closed doors. Matt Target was playing like his name was Roberto Carlos. He was incredible. I think in the 2021 season, he had the 3rd most progressive passes in Europe after De Bruyne and Toni Kroos. He was 3rd. His link-up play with Grealish was incredible, but like you said, Dad, the moment you take a player like that out of the team, his performances have dropped, and I completely agree with you. It's difficult to mention anyone else.
Absolutely. Only a 1 assist in 10 games last season, like Theo said. He was smashing it. Brentford now, they're playing some good football this season. You might think this is a little harsh. Marcus Force, Theo, the centre forward. Now, he's only been on the pitch 5 times. I don't think he's had a single shot on target. The thing about football, you've got to take your chances. You've got to get into that team and stay.
How much game time has he actually had, though?
Not very much. Admittedly, not very much. But part of it, Theo, in training, you've got to say to the gaffer, I want to be on that pitch.
I think it's a bit unfair. You know, he's a young lad. Tony and Mbeumo are ahead of him in the team, and he's not been able to break into it. So I've gone with a starter, and I've already mentioned him, Mbeumo.
Yes.
The reason I picked him, he's had 2 goals in 10 games. I know he's been unlucky with VAR because I had him in my FPL team, and it annoys me when he drops a 2-pointer. Last season, the guy got 18 contributions from 37 total games, which, don't get me wrong, is a lot more. But it's in between the 1 in 2, 1 in 3 range. This season, he's 1 in 5 right now. The step up has affected him a little bit. Is he on the same wavelength? I'm not too sure. It was difficult with Brentford. You look at their team, they got promoted. How can you pick out a player that said they'd gone declined? I've had to go with someone. It's difficult for me. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's a bit of FPL saltiness. I know what you're saying, Theo.
Probably.
He has come up a level, and I think he's a good player, and I think he'll come good.
Yeah, maybe he'll take a little bit more time.
Brighton and Hove Albion, I've gone for Aaron Connolly. And again, I'm going to admit I've been a bit harsh here because he's only played in 2 games.
Yep.
No goals, no shots on target, no assist. He's missed a big chance. But again, Theo, like I said earlier, you've got to force your way into the team and stay there. He's not done that. He's an Irish international.
I know, last season he had a few big moments, didn't he?
Yeah.
A couple goals that really helped Brighton to get on big results. But this season it's not been the same. Like you said, he's only had a very small number of minutes, but it's hard to pick anyone out in the Brighton team that said the decline, so I agree.
Burnley now, and I've gone for an England international, a former favourite of FPL managers everywhere. It is Nick Pope. Now, he's not been bad this season, but he's not been great. He's making about 3 saves per game, but you know what? A couple of errors led to shots. Overall, meh.
I disagree with that. I think there's worse players out there than the Burnley team, and a good example of it is Ashley Barnes.
Right.
He's had 4 starts, 4 games off the bench as well. 0 goals, 0 assists. He's not the man to save Burnley from relegation. Even Matis Vidra has been bagging more goals than him. I think his time eventually at Burnley will be up. You know, the old days of 4-4-2 of Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood, that sort of setup, you know, it's starting to, you know, change up with the players and stuff, with others breaking through. It's difficult to say anyone else.
Chelsea now, there might be some debate here. I've gone for a lad who came last season, had a reasonable debut season, got used to the division, and now I think at the very least he's gone stable, if not backwards. Kai Havertz. Now bear with me, Theo. 2 goals and 1 assist. He has missed 4 big chances. At times he's been playing as a centre forward against the likes of Norwich. Should have done better.
That his stats in the Premier League that last season weren't outstanding.
They were probably about the same as this season.
So it's not a decline then?
He's had some easy games where he should have filled his boots.
He scored in the last game. I think for Chelsea, it's very simple. And I'm surprised you don't agree. Saul Niguez, he's come into the team. He's barely broke into the first team because he's not good enough. Yeah. And it looks like he's going to be en route back to Atletico Madrid. Tuchel put him in the tactics. He looked a little bit average.
Yes.
And they thought, you know what, it's time to sack him off again.
I thought about him. He was the obvious one, but for me, that's more disappointment than decline. I think with Kai Havertz, you have a reasonable debut season. The next season, you've got to come up a level. Think of all the money they paid for him. Yeah, disappointing.
They paid quite a lot for Saul as well.
Yeah, true.
And he's a player that actually looked good in the Spanish league. So I think it's a decline because he can't handle the Prem. So listen, we agree to disagree. On to the next one.
Crystal Palace now. I've gone for Gyro Rijdervold. Now, he came 4 years ago, Theo, from Ajax, and he was hailed as the great next thing, and he's just not lived up to expectations. This year, 2 appearances against Chelsea and Liverpool. How easy is that? And he's flunked his lines.
So he's only had 2 games, and you're basing it off that?
Yes. But it's not just that, Theo. He's 25 years old. By this stage, he should have forced his way into the 11. He hasn't.
I've gone for a different Palace player. It's Jordan Ayew. And he's someone who plays more regularly in that Palace team. I just don't think his performances are getting any better. There's other people in that team like Conor Gallagher, even Benteke at times, Edouard right at the start of the season, who have had these big moments and helped get goals in big games. Jordan Ayew, he's just not been the same. I think he's starting to slip off a little bit. They should look to replace him soon enough.
That is a fair shout, but what I would say that he didn't really have a great season last season. So is it a decline or is it just time for him to move on?
Probably both.
Everton now, and I've gone for Mason Holgate. Theo, I think he's having a poor season. He's not getting a lot of game time. Sent off against Spurs, and my expectations of this lad are much, much higher.
There's a lot of players in that Everton defence who have not been up to scratch, and especially compared to last season. Over the last few games, there's been a lot of draws and losses. Rafa doesn't want it. The whole Everton fan base are thinking who to point the finger at. One player who I think has slightly declined from last season, and partly it could be getting the Rona, trying to come back from it, may have the long Rona. I can't say the full word on YouTube because it'll get done. It'd do me in, basically. But Ben Godfrey, he's a man that Everton fans were screaming about last season, being incredible. We're not hearing it as much this year. The reason for it, he's dropped off a little bit. Some people arguing he's not back to full fitness yet. I don't know what you can argue. It's difficult to see, so I'd put him in.
I think those are 2 fair shouts. Leeds United, this is very easy. He's a left winger. His name is Jack Harrison, and he's having an absolute stinker of a season. And last season, Theo, he was so good. A lot of people brought him into their FPL teams. Yeah, I don't know what's happened. Is it because Daniel James has come in, Theo?
His XG was nearly as good as Rafinha. I compared it. He was cheaper on FPL, so I thought, I've got to have him. Now Rafinha, I've got him in my FPL team. Thogden doesn't. He's running the show. Probably the only Leeds player that's running the show at the moment. It's a one-man job, I tell you. The guy's not been as good since he signed a permanent with Leeds. Maybe it's because he's thinking, well, I have no more opportunity of breaking through to the City team. That's out the window. Like maybe he was doing it when he was on loan from City, thinking maybe I'll get a chance with Pep if I keep playing well. Now it's a moment of he's signed with Leeds. He's bound into a contract. It's a different sort of mentality.
It is, Theo. Come on, Jack, get it together, mate.
Hopefully he does.
Leicester City now. I've gone with an experienced centre-back from Turkey. It is, of course, Kaglar Sayonsu. Theo, when he came, he was really impressive. And I think he's gone downhill
You think he's dropped off,
I do, really, yeah. I mean, he's making too many mistakes these days. He's not winning enough duels. You look at his underlying stats.
But do you know what it is?
They're not that good.
He misses Fofana. When you've had a centre-back teammate that you've played with for a whole year, smashed it, and he gets a big long-term injury, it's not the same, Thogdad. So I didn't point the finger at Soyuncu. I pointed it at Jose Perez.
Yeah.
The guy's not the same anymore. When he was getting those big moments at the start for Leicester, for Newcastle, he created big moments and chances that he put away to help win games. He doesn't have that impact on games anymore. I just don't see it in him. He's declined.
Well, he's not getting much game time, is he?
And there's a reason for it. He's been dropped because he's average, and every time he does come onto the pitch, he can't make a difference like he did in previous years. For me, it's an obvious decline. He needs to get a move somewhere.
Liverpool now, and I'll be honest here, I cannot keep a straight face, look in this camera, and say that any Liverpool player has declined. So I'm going to say nobody.
You know what? I look into this camera straight down the lens, and I look there with a straight face and say, Andy Robertson.
Oh, harsh man.
I'll be honest, Dad. Andy Robertson has dropped off from last season. I know he's had the injury, which is probably part of the reason for it, but his performances and the contributions he brought to the Liverpool attack in previous years were better than this season. I'm not saying he won't get back to that. He could probably get back to that next week. Okay, he's still a top player. I'm not denying it. I just think he's slightly dropped off.
I think it's all relative. I think he's good this season, whereas in the past he was very good, if not brilliant.
Look at Trent this year.
Yeah.
Look how much better he's got. That's playing on Robertson's head because he's dropping game after game a masterclass.
But Theo, but the thing about Robertson, Theo, he's not been bad.
No, he's not been bad. When you're world class,
yes,
and you go to slightly under world class because of an injury, there's decline. And it doesn't matter at what stage of the table there's decline, there is decline. And this is the video on decline. I'm not saying he's dropped off and he needs to be dropped. It's a different type of mentality, Thogdad. And once you wrap your big old head around that, you'll understand. On to the next one.
Manchester City, it's got to be Raheem Sterling. 80 million quid worth of talent. He's not even earning his weight. He's not even being picked at the moment, Theo.
Thogdad!
1 goal, 2 big chances missed. Raheem, massive
Thogdad,
decline.
You made a great decision there.
Yeah, I know. Impossible.
You knew I was going to do that.
Impossible to disagree with that, Theo.
Because during the Euros, the geezer looked like the best winger in the world.
Yeah.
Turning up in big moments, getting to the back post, getting important goals. Like, that guy was such a threat. It just worked under Southgate. It's not working under Pep the same way. And I hope he really finds the form again of the England team, you know?
Yeah, Theo, I know the problem with Raheem at the moment. Shall I tell you?
Yeah, go on.
He wants a move to a bigger club. Newcastle United. Look, at the moment, he's a great player. We know he's a great player. We see him in an England shirt, yeah? But he's playing in just this incredible team. I think he might fit better in a team like Newcastle where he can really make a difference over a few years. That's a big shout, I know.
Very interesting.
Manchester United now, and the question for both of us, do we go for Luke Shaw? Do we go for Harry Maguire? My answer is Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho, okay, has come in, 8 games, no goals, no assist. He's missed a big chance. An error led to a shot. His stats are terrible. And he seems to be hiding from the game, Theo. Do you agree?
Who's not declined?
Yeah.
Let's go through the whole team. De Gea's stalemated. Maguire's probably declined from some of the big games he's
absolutely.
had. Luke Shaw, massive decline. Wan-Bissaka declined from his big games when he was boxing Neymar. Martial's had a massive decline.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's declined.
Ronaldo's stats are pretty good.
I just wanted to wind you up there. You could honestly name anybody in the Man United team.
Yeah.
Anybody. And I would say, fair enough. The problem is the manager. And once they get that manager out, these declining problems won't be happening. I haven't even thought about Jadon Sancho. He's the one boy that you probably can't point the finger at because he hasn't even played. He's only come on for a few minutes. And even then, he's low on confidence because Ole is his manager.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have put the finger, I wouldn't have pointed it at Sancho.
Well, in fairness to Sancho, there's a couple of things that had happened. He had a bad ear infection when he came. That wasn't talked about very much. He's had a leg injury. But also, the pace of the Premier League compared to the Bundesliga, it shocked him, Theo.
And the pressure when you cost 85 million.
Yes.
When United get a new manager, I genuinely believe Sancho could change round.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be a flop yet. Don't call it a flop yet. Do you know what I'm really sad about? Greenwood. I had him at the start of FPL, smashing it. He was getting a goal a game.
Yes.
Then they signed Ronaldo, and I know Ronaldo's took over, scored goals, Europe, Premier League, fine. But he's taken away from the youngsters. Because when Ronaldo signed, Greenwood stopped scoring. And that's because when Man United attack forward, they're looking for Ronaldo. They're not looking for Greenwood anymore.
Yes.
And now I watched Greenwood against City and he looks way too predictable. But going back to this video, Luke Shaw is the player I've picked.
Yeah.
I think he got an injury last game, but that just toppled a really... a low for Man United.
Yeah,
you know, Luke Shaw, he's been falling away since the Euros. He literally scored in the final, dropped a masterclass with Southgate, and it's all been downhill ever since. So, yeah, there we go.
Newcastle United now, and I've gone for John Joe Shelvey. And let me tell you why, Theo. He's not doing enough to even get on the pitch. Imagine that. He's not doing enough to get on the pitch for Newcastle United. And when he gets on the pitch, he fluffs his lines. He gets sent off. We saw him get sent off at St James's Park.
Thogdad, you need to have a shish kebab. Because
I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, because you're a mug.
Because I rate him. I've always rated him. And this is a season where he could have pulled his socks up, got selected for the first 11 and done really good things. And he hasn't. If not John Joe, who have you gone for?
It's very simple. Joe Willock. The performances he was dropping last season was even making Arsenal think, why have we let him go on a permanent?
Yeah.
Goals and assists, big moments, late winners. Newcastle fans loved him. He was part of the reason they survived.
Yeah.
This season, he's not been doing that. Since he signed a permanent contract with Newcastle United, he's not been getting the goals and assists that they've expected of him. And that's the truth.
Yes.
So that is a serious decline. And I thought you'd have gone for that. John Joe Shelvey was not good before. He's still not good now. And you just picked him out because you'd love to rant against Shelvey. That's rude.
No, I love to rant for Shelvey because I've always rated him. I think underneath all that madness is a good player. And this was the season where he could and should have shown it. Norwich City, now I've gone for a man with no goals, no assists. I don't think he's had any shots on target. He's been relegated to the under-23s and it started so well with such high expectations. Todd Cantwell. What has happened, Theo?
What happened? Do you remember the form he was dropping the last time they were in the Premier League?
Yes.
How good he was, the sort of qualities. This guy was playing on a level that we'd not seen before. He didn't even play well in the Championship, came to the Prem, was better. Then he went back to the Championship and they come straight back up. They are a bit of a yo-yo club when I come to think of it. But we're losing that form that we saw of him before. Apparently he's fell out with Daniel Farke. Well, he's not the manager anymore. So I'm really hoping whoever comes in now will bring the best out of him and we start to see the best out of Cantwell, because deep down, you and me know there's a player in there.
Yeah, but you see, part of football, Theo, it isn't just about physical and technical and what have you. Part of it's in the head.
Yep.
And you've got to have it right in the head in terms of attitude and mentality.
Absolutely.
In the dressing room, on the training pitch, on the pitch.
And I hope he can get better. Thogden agrees. Teapot, on to the next one.
Southampton, now I've gone with Stuart Armstrong. He's spending a lot of time on the bench, and when he gets on the pitch, he's not proving it. Last season, Theo, we got 9 goal contributions. Nowhere near it this season.
I think it's a little bit rude, Thogden. He's just not really playing, is he?
Well, again, Theo, it goes back to you have to earn your right to be in the 11.
Fair play. I think it's difficult with Southampton. Hazenhutl's got this way of playing that he will bring the best out of the 11 players that he's got on the pitch. So I've gone for a man that's sort of been dropped out of the team, and when he does play, he's not been as good as he has in previous years, or at least glimpses. I've gone for Dinepo. He's just not been the same recently, but it's difficult with Southampton because Hazenhutl, I think, is a good manager. Turned it around, like I said, and it's all looking up for them.
Tottenham Hotspur, very easy. Harry Kane, 10 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. He's missed a bunch of chances. He's not getting in the box as much. He's not taking as many shots. What has gone wrong with Harry Kane, Theo?
Everything. I've watched Harry Kane play absolutely incredible. Creating, scoring goals, winners, big moments, long shots. Looking like one of the top strikers in the world. He's nowhere near that level now. And he doesn't want to be. That was the problem. He didn't want to be under Nuno.
Yeah, absolutely. Last season, he was averaging more than a goal contribution every 90 minutes. This season, he just looked lost.
And I think with the new manager coming in for Tottenham, it will make a big difference. Antonio Conte is a manager who will bring the best out of the world-class footballers. Harry Kane will become his biggest asset. The same with Son. At least he did perform a little bit under Nuno because he has that more consistency this season. There's quite a few Spurs players that need to do with a little boost in positivity in that dressing room. And I think Antonio Conte should bring that to the table, and we might see Kane back to his best suit.
Watford, and I've gone for Tom Cleverley. I thought he was pretty good this season, and this season he's not really showing up as much. He's only winning 40% of his duels, which is a poor stat.
But hasn't played much.
He hasn't played too much, no.
I've gone for João Pedro, a man that scored, I think, up to 10 contributions last season in the Championship. Was a young boy, obviously breaking through, come from Brazil. It's a bit of a culture shock for you when you're that young. But you know what? He was actually doing really well. In the Premier League this season, he's only come off the bench, in fairness to him. But he's not added anything to the hardest league in the world. And I think it will take time. Slight decline, but the geezer can definitely improve.
West Ham United, I've gone for Nikola Vlasic, Theo. Now, he cost 27 million quid from CSKA Moscow. So this is all about disappointment. He's not even earning a place in the team.
Hasn't he just
4 games,
signed?
no goals, no assists. He's just disappointed, Theo.
He's
just not good enough.
He just transferred to West Ham.
So it's more about disappointment than decline.
Yeah, he hasn't been involved very much, Thogden. I think you're just saying that because West Ham have got a bunch of talents.
Well, they've been brilliant
and you wanted
this
to
season.
say someone.
Yes.
I've been honest here. Out of the 11 that starts, the one player who's probably dropped off from last season and probably needs a rest, if anything, is Thomas Souček. He's been great. He's been that holding mid-roll, smashing it for seasons at West Ham. But this year, he's not getting the goals that he brought to the table last year. Maybe that's because he's, not as doing as much He was running so much last season. Like, he was their absolute tank, getting forward, getting goals, running back, holding the midfield. Him and Deckers was smashing it. It's the same this year, but he's not adding as many goals.
Yeah, I think in terms of the goals, Theo, I think that was always an anomaly. I think he was never going to do that again. I mean, he's a class player, works very hard for the team, but maybe he has come off a little bit.
Yeah, out of all the West Ham starters there, he's the one that you have to pick out. It's difficult to, but he's still on a really good level.
And finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's Nelson Semedo for me, the Portuguese international. 10 games, no goals, no assists. I don't know, I just expect a little bit more. He's missed a couple of big chances, hasn't he, Theo?
Yeah, he has. I've gone for his Spanish teammate, Adama Traore.
Yes.
I had him in my FPL team, he did nothing. The problem is, you watch him a match of the day, and you think, oh yeah, he's looking good. He's going to go on a run of goals now.
Yeah.
He's had 10 games out of 11 possible. 0 goals. 0 assists. Even Hwang Ki-chan's been bagging.
Yes.
You know, Jimenez has been getting involved. Podence, since he's come back, has looked really good. What is Adama doing?
Do you know what, Theo? He's not young anymore. Maybe he's in the wrong league. Maybe he needs to try a different European league.
I agree. I think he'd be better in the Serie A or something. The Premier League is just, I think it's a little bit too quick for him. He's a very fast player, but what he needs is a little bit more time to think before he shoots or passes the ball. And you don't get that sort of time in the Prem. And it's tough to say it because I think he could have been so good, and maybe he still can at a different club. That is it. We've given our 20. It's going to create loads of debate in the comments section. Let us know the club out you support. Who's been the player that's declined the most this season? Please smash over 10,000 likes. Would be spectacular. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, subscribe. We've got loads of new stuff coming over the international break, keeping you busy, and we'll see you in a bit.
See ya.
Bye, guys.